What's up guys, it's Ryan, and we're back with another discussion and analysis video on Persona 5 Scramble the Phantom Strikers and the, recently released PvO3 trailer. I do apologize for the wait on this one, I've been a bit busy lately, but I'm back once again with another analysis and discussion video. Reminder also, in case you don't know, there's going to be a launch livestream tomorrow for P5S held by Atlas for the game's launch. Most likely showing off the game and maybe even a live performance of some kind if the P5R launch stream is anything to go by. Be sure to check it out! So, with all that said, let's mosey. We start off here with all the thieves, including Hasegawa, standing in the red jail room we saw back in the reveal trailer, with the giant gold diamond in the air back from the PvO2 trailer, charging up what seems to be some sort of laser. Sophia, meanwhile, in the background, says that she wants to befriend humanity. That is her mission. There's more context to what Sophia says later, so I'll save my thoughts on that scene for now. But theory, this is most likely just endgame stuff. After this, we get whatever the hell this thing is. A giant spherical machine decorated with a regal appearance walking towards the team. Ryuji then questions what it is before it lets out its Buzz Lightyear looking wings and gets ready to fight the thieves. We then have Ren, Makoto, Ryuji, and Hasegawa fighting off the enemy. It has a ton of health and a lot of shields to it. There's also an NPC in the top right with the same regal look as the robot, though I'm not totally sure what he's saying here. Again, Google Translate isn't really the best translator. He lets out a ton of beams at Makoto and eventually stuns her. After the small intro, we get the thieves running around what I believe is the Osaka jail, fighting off a bunch of enemies. There's also someone in the background saying, "We can't leave these terrorists to roam around. These are murders," with a voice following up with, "The Phantom Thieves in a murder case?" in a questioning tone. Honestly, I'm not sure what this means so far. So far, we haven't seen anything of anyone experiencing any sort of mental shutdowns or anything of the like, so what's going on here? Yusuke then follows up with, "It's been increasing," with Ryuji then saying, "There are a lot of shadows around here." What does this mean? As they fight even more in the Osaka jail. I'm not sure whose voice it is next, but they say, "There's no time to think about that. You guys, go all out." And during this time, we also see another part of the jail with Futaba having to hack a certain section of it. This seems to be a theme throughout all the jails so far, where Futaba needs to hack like a doorway or entrance or something while you hold off a bunch of enemies. We then see a compilation of all the thieves exploring and fighting. Yusuke using a Showtime attack, On fighting some enemies, Morgana moving an ice block from the Sapporo jail, and he says, "Don't let up now, it's been a while since our previous fight." I would assume he says this after they all come together again in the Shibuya jail. Wouldn't really make sense for him to be saying this in, say, the third jail or something. We then see the true form of the boss in the Sapporo jail. A weird, I don't know what to call this, Big Head, I'm gonna call her Big Head. There's also a moment where Big Head ends up eating Ryuji, though we don't really get much of that. I would assume it just deals tons of damage, maybe a status effect to it. We then see, sadly in my opinion, a hot spring scene. Now I don't want to spend too long on this, but this definitely did cause quite a bit of noise from some people in the community, and I honestly can kind of get why, going off of little context the trailer actually gives us. One thing is, if this really is a scene where the guys are trying to sneak a peek at all the girls, I'm sorry, I hate this. It's a cliche I always honestly hate in any sort of anime or game, and I was happy P5 didn't have anything like this. Sadly it's in here. At least I think so. I'll only say this, going off of what they're actually doing here, I don't think they are. The theory right now is that all the guys are simply trying to sneak out and not see the girls, which I honestly really hope is the case. It is weird why Ren is sort of settling the wall and Ryuji's a bit more underwater, so I do hope that's actually what's going on in this scene. I just never like this type of moment. I find it really dumb anyway, and it feels like more lazy fan service where you don't need it. Plus, need I mention this scene from P5?
It'll be too much hassle for me to go anywhere else. I'll just sleep in here tonight.
Wait, what? I don't know if that's a good idea.
Don't worry, I trust you guys.
If the guys are trying to sneak a peek, I feel like that kind of ruins this scene a little bit. Plus, it just makes the guys come off as assholes. Either way, I do hope it's simply just the guys trying to sneak away or something, and I can't really blame people for being upset about a scene like this. But again, one, we have little context for what's going on in the scene, and two, saying a scene like this ruins an entire game is a bit ridiculous. Yes, I've heard that. Twitter is a fun place. Moving on, we get a small scene of Hasegawa's daughter, Akane, playing with a toy and imitating a voice going, to the Phantom Thieves' fans. I also gotta say, I really love the idea of Hasegawa's daughter being this big Phantom Thief fan. It's honestly pretty funny to begin with, but the memorabilia makes it even better. Are those copies of calling cards? That's pretty awesome. We get a small moment of Hasegawa looking up and a voice saying, "If you were all to perish, I would make sure to protect myself above all else." Honestly, I'm not totally sure who says this, to be honest. and then we get a small glimpse of a brand new character, but we'll talk more about him later because there's a good bit to go over. We then have a moment of all the thieves standing in a city, pitch black out with the lights shutting off. Morgana points out something in the sky, and as the camera zooms out, we see a bunch of citizens on their phones, and I believe Hasegawa telling all the thieves to run, as all the lights in the city shut off. Honestly, this scene is pretty goddamn creepy. Hasegawa telling them to run just adds to the creepiness factor of it, though honestly I'm not sure what city they're in here, but I believe it might be Osaka. We then have a scene at the Thieves at the Fireworks show again from the PVO1 trailer, and Ren showing Sophia the fireworks in his phone, which is plain cute. The line afterwards, though, is not so cute, actually kinda depressing. The line from someone, though I'm not sure who, says, "We were in a predicament and couldn't save anyone." Ryuji then says, "That guy was targeted by those nasty people. He was a victim in all this too." Now, I'm not totally sure who they're referring to here, but theory time. I believe this is actually Akechi they're talking about. There's only one other person in Persona 5, not Royal, who was corrupted by adults who was a male. Who else but Akechi? Again, this is mostly baseless, but that's all I really can think of, plus it doesn't really fit any of the jail owners either, unless maybe they're talking about Hasegawa, but I kinda doubt that. But again, we'll have to wait and see. While we have a scene of the Sendai jail boss, Hasegawa, at least I believe so, says in the background, "Even if I get through all of that, nothing I do will become useful," with Ryuji following up with, "You tried to protect it, didn't you?" Though I don't think this is him following up Hasegawa's dialogue here. Then we're back at the Kyoto jail, with the thieves being trapped behind bars, and Hasegawa awakening to his persona, Valjean. There's also a jail owner voice that says, "Stop right there, I'll kill you soon." Hasegawa then awakens to his persona, which of course shocks the thieves. He then says, "I won't think about it anymore. I'll defeat those villains," showing his Showtime attack, which is pretty awesome. During this Showtime attack though, there's something of note. How come there's a bunch of Phantom Thief memorabilia on the lanterns and at the top of the gate? Maybe it's just a coincidence, but Hasegawa's daughter also resides in Kyoto and is also a big Phantom Thief fan. This is also where I believe the red-haired Joker was. Just something to think about since it does weirdly all add up. Then we have a good bit to talk about here. This is Sophia's persona Pythos, however it slowly then opens up, revealing a body behind it. Lavenza is also in the background saying, "With this power, please save the crying girl." So, it seems like Sophia is actually getting a true persona here. When this takes place, I'm not totally sure, but this is what's definitely happening. That's pretty big on its own, but what does Lavenza mean about the crying girl? There's only two things here to me. She's talking to Ren and asking him to save Sophia after an incident we'll cover later, or she's talking to Sophia, giving her this power and asking her to save Akane. We see Hasegawa smirking after this scene from the PVO2 trailer, and a female voice says in the background, "Using the power to change hearts, they covered up for us." Honestly, I'm a little confused about the scene at the moment, but it's mostly because I'm not sure if it's a thief or someone else saying it. We then get a shot of a bunch of people staring at their phones, with Sophia saying in the background, "I don't want to hurt you guys." Then, we get a bunch of stuff. Ryuji now get hit by the laser from the gold diamond from the beginning, and Ren starts bleeding from his face underneath the mask. Presumably from the attacks from the diamond. I should also mention something kind of big here. The pattern on the floor here is the exact same one Ren was standing in that foggy area in the PVO2 trailer. There's more on this later, but those two are connected in some way. Then we get something that's kind of big. Sophia is standing in the middle of a room and the camera zooms down on her, and the pattern on the floor is also the exact same one that I mentioned earlier, meaning the foggy area, the red jail, and now this area are all connected. It zooms into her face, and for a split second it no longer shows her eyes, but a multitude of the dots, I guess you can call them, on her eyes. Then, a giant pink beam shoots up from the Shibuya 109 building, with the voice saying, "Can't be. There really has to be a way." Then, we're at the top of the 109 building again, with a bunch of hands reaching out behind the thieves. I don't know if Hasegawa's there, but Sophia is. So, I'm calling it now, after all this, my theory is this. Sophia is going to be a traitor in Scramble, but unwillingly. Going off of her saying she doesn't want to hurt anyone, the overall mystery surrounding her character, and the pattern being shared in the red jail area and even in this foggy area from the PVO2 trailer, it seems like this actually might be the case. I would actually be kind of interested in this if this were true, as it would be a nice twist in the whole traitor card thing Atlas likes to pull sometimes. Plus, imagine how emotional it would be if it was done well, too. You have to destroy Sophia, as she can't be stopped, but you don't want to since you've created such a bond with her. It'd be a hard thing to do, but it would be an emotional moment. I'd love to see this, but we'll have to wait and see. We then see... Go, go, Power Rangers! Okay, let's pause for a minute here. Joking aside, who the heck is this? The dialogue in the background, I believe from this person, says, "I thought you'd say that. It's to you after all." as he walks away from a fiery wreckage. Now, even though he does share a regal look to him, I don't believe this is a catchy in any way like some people have been theorizing. It doesn't really make too much sense to me, to be honest. I wouldn't really be complaining, but it really doesn't seem to line up. Plus, why would he not just wear his crow or black mask outfit? Why this cybernetic regal look to him? I believe this is simply just Akira, the Osaka jail owner. Plus, it's the exact same design as the robot from the beginning. I think it's just here because we really haven't seen much of Akira or that jail yet, which this focuses a lot on the Osaka jail. We then get Sophia's persona Pythos flying away from her with someone yelling, "Please, open your eyes." As Futaba yells at something, and the camera focuses in on the explosion, the trailer ends. Though a small thing, I do like how the end bit here no longer says, "They will return," with a rocket flying to it saying, "They return." But, that's the trailer! I do apologize again for the wait on this one, but man, for a game releasing I believe in only a couple days in Japan, they really have more and more to show with each trailer. But what I like thus far is that this doesn't really give away much about the game thus far. There's still so many lines out of context, lines being moved around, and just plain confusing scenes. There's still so much stuff out of context. Lines being moved around, and just plain confusing scenes. The game releases only a couple more days in Japan, and man, I'm still excited. I should stress that I won't be picking up a Japanese copy, but I do hope Japanese players and players who do pick up a Japanese copy are going to have an amazing time. But, with that said, that's everything. So, with all that said, what are your guys' thoughts? With the game releasing in only a few short days, are you still excited for it? Do you have any fears going into Scramble or not? Comment below and let me know. Thank you all very much for watching, have a great night, and signing off. Peace out everyone.